Students, today we discuss Introduction to Software Quality with the new topic Software Error. Software error can be referred as getting the unexpected or wrong result due to fault in a software. A software error can be introduced as a result of incomplete or inaccurate requirements or due to human data entry problem. A error can be grammatical error in a one or more of the code of the lines or logical error. In short, error is a human action that produces inaccurate result. The software error can cause improper functioning of the software or in a specific applications. The incomplete or inaccurate requirements are due to human data entry problem. An error is a human action that produces an inaccurate result. The software error can cause improper functioning of the software. These are the common categories of the software error. First one is the functionality error. Functionality error is a not working that the software according to their function, that is the functionality error. For example, the expected functionality for cancel button is that the active window should get closed and none of the changes should be saved. If the cancel button is not clickable, then it is a functionality error. Second one is a communication error. The error occurs in a communications from software to end user. Anything that the end user needs to know in order to use the software should be made available on a screen. For example, communications error are no help instructions menu provides so that the new user who use that applications and whenever the sum of the problems occurs in that the software there is not given the help menu, then such types of the errors are the communications error. Then third one is the missing command error. In a missing command error, when an expected command is not given in that the software, that is the missing command error. Then next one is the syntactic error. Syntactic errors are wrong words or grammatically incorrect sentence and are very evident while testing the software graphical user interface. For example, the compiler will warn the developer about any syntax error that occurs in the code. If that the spelling of that the word is incorrect, then that types of the errors are the grammatically errors or syntactic errors. Next one is the error handling error. Any errors that occurs while the user is interacting with the software needs to be handled in a clear and meaningful manners. If it is called as a error handling error, for example, the error message given gives no indications of what that error actually. It is a missing mandatory field or the saving errors, page loading error, or it is the system error. So this is known as the error handling error. If the sum of the exceptions are occurs during the applications program, if that exceptions is not closed or when we press the OK button, then another pop-up window is generated. When we press the OK button, then again a certain pop-up window is produced. So that types of the errors are the error handling errors. Next one is a calculations error. And these types of the errors are occurs when that the inner sum of the excels there is a given the got bad data or bad logic or the sum of the incorrect formulas, then that types of the errors are the calculations error. And last one is the control flow errors. The control flow of a software describes what it will do next and on what conditions. For example, consider a system where a user has to fill a form and the options are available to users are save and close and cancel. If user clicks on a save and close button, the user information in the form should be saved and the form should get closed. If user first press the cancel button, then form will be the close, but it does not save any information in that form. So that is the error flow, uh, control flow error. Then after that there is a we discuss the software fault. There is a relationship between the software error, software faults, and the software failure. When we say that it is in a software fault, a manifestation of an error in a software is known as a software fault or the bug. Software fault is known as the defect arises when the expected result don't match with the actual results. A manifestation of an error, that is the errors due to by the human being, so it is the manifestations of an error. If errors, flaw or failure or faults in a computer program, most bugs are arises from mistakes and error made by the software developer or their architects. There are number of faults like the faulty graphical user interface, security faults, business logic faults, functional and logical faults. Various methods such as peer review, code analysis, methodologies for software development, as well as an efficient technique adopted for the programming can be incorporated to avoid the faulty codes. Then there is a failures. Failure defined as a derivations of the software from its expected delivery or services. Failures are caused by the faults in the software. The software system can contain the fault but still never fails because if the faults are in those parts of the system that are never used. In other words, failure is the appearance of one or the more faults, that is the bug, then that the software will be the failure. There is a relationship between the in the error, faults, and the failures. That is, in a software development process, errors are occurs. That errors are not resolved, then faults are occurs. And if that faults are not resolved, then occurs the failure. In this diagram, the relationship between software error, faults, and failure, the development process develops. There are the total different 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 software errors. Only 5 errors of which becomes a software fault, and finally there are total 2 errors that will be the failures. There is mentioned that the relationship between the errors, faults, and failure. Errors in a software, when we said that the errors in a software, if there is a syntax error in a code, If that syntax error is not resolved, then what occurs? It occurs the false. That is, the program does not work. That program does not work properly. If it is the main program and it is not working properly, then the software installation is fails. That comes to the failure. Then improper logic. The errors occurs because logic is not accurate, logic is not according to the customer requirements. Then program delivers false occurs when that the program delivers incorrect result, and failures occurs when software generates misleading result, thus fails to get the accepted. Error occurs improper understanding of the requirements, that errors are comes into the faults when programs are not written as per the requirements, and that faults become the failure when customer refuses to accept the software, hence it fails to deliver. Then errors occurs when the incorrect system design, that errors comes into the faults when system does not function as per the requirements, and that faults comes in a failure when customer refuses to accept the software. Errors, incorrect implementations method, that incorrect implementations method that comes through the faults when delay in a implementation, no using proper implementations methods, and that faults are comes in a failures, delay in a implementation lose its importance and moral of the team, and hence it will be the failure. Errors occurs, incorrect master data given or uploading some erroneous input data, then that the faults occurs, the wrong data is picked up for the execution, and that the software will be the failure. This is a relationship between the error, faults and failures. The different why these software errors are occurs, there are the different reasons behind that. Software error occurs due to poor quality of a software. It is an important that the reasons of these errors in order to avoid them. Software error can be anything like a procedure error, code error, documentation error, or software data error. It should be emphasized that the cause of all these errors are human, made by system analyst programmer, software tester, documentation experts, manager, and sometimes client and their representatives. Even in rare cases where software error may be caused by the development environment, for example, interpreters, automatic software generators, it is reasonable to claim that it is a human error that caused the failure of the development environment tools. The cause of the software error can be further classified according to the stage of the software development process in which they occur. The origin of a software failure lies in a software error made by a programmer. All the software error become a software faults. In many cases, some of the erroneous code lines will not affect the functionality of the software as a whole. In part of these cases, the fault will be corrected or neutralized by the subsequent code line. There are then different causes of the software errors, such as the echo faulty requirement definitions, deliberation of deliberations from the software requirements, client developer communications failures, coding error, procedure error, non-compliance with the documentations and coding instructions, logical design error, shortcoming of the testing process, and the documentation error. These are the different causes of the software errors. First one is that the requirement specifications faults. There are the certain number of problems related to the clear, correct, and concise writing of the requirement so that they can be converted into specifications that can be directly used by the computer programming tester and so on. Even change in a requirement also lead to requirement specifications fault. Usually, a number of software errors are caused due to unspecific or proper requirements provided by client. It is important to spend quality time to understand the requirement, functionality, and objective of the software to be developed. It is also necessary to evaluate underlying risk as well as end user benefits. The main error of these types are giving the incorrect requirement definitions, incomplete or absence of the main requirements, unnecessary requirements, or a non-functional or requirements are given. So these are the main reasons for that the requirement specification faults. The second one is the communications failure between client and developers. Error can also occur in intermediary software products due to poor communication, understanding between the software developer and client from the outset of the software project. The communication between the client and developer is the most important in understanding the requirements, otherwise, it may lead to misunderstanding the client's requirement in a requirement specifications. The orally communicated changes to the developer during the development process, response given by the client to the developer in a design problem, etc. Even there is a communication gap between client developer regarding the questions or message exchange between them. That is the communication failure between the clients and developers. Then variations in a software requirements. Developer may deviate from the documented requirements that actions often cause of the software error. The error can result such changes in these cases. Mostly the common situations of deliberate deviations are without sufficient analysis of the change required. The developer reused the software modules of the earlier project. Also, adaptations needed to correctly fulfill all the new requirements are not taken into the consideration. The developer decides to exclude part of the requirement functions in an attempt to survive with the time or budget pressure. Even developer initiated unapproved improvements to the software are introduced without taking client's approval, frequently discard the requirements that minor to the developer. Such minor changes may cause the software errors. The next one is the non-compliance with the documentations and the coding instructions. Every development unit has its own documentations and coding standard that defines the content, order, and format of the documents, and the code created by the team member. To support this requirement, the unit developed or publicized its templates and coding instructions. If the quality of non-compliant software is acceptable, future handling of this software by the development and maintenance team is expected to increase the rates of the error. There are the different reasons when that the errors occurs in the documentations or the coding instructions. But these are the team members, individuals, the design review, test team, and maintenance team. And last one is the shortcoming of the testing process. The error rate is affected by leaving a greater number of errors undetected or uncorrected as the shortcoming of the testing process. The shortcoming result from the following cause. First one, incomplete test plan leave the untreated portions of the software or the application's functions and states of the system. Second, failure to the document and reports detected the errors and faults. Failure to promptly correct detected software fault as a result of inappropriate indications of the reasons for the fault. Incomplete corrections of detected error due to negligence or the time pressures. These are the different causes of the software error. Today we stop here. In the next session, we discuss that the software quality, quality assurance, and the software engineering. Thank you.